and recognizing that our foreign policy needs to reflect an extraordinary strength. We need to make sure that the rest of the world knows that we're going to have a military that they're not want to engage for any purpose. And I do believe that President Reagan was right. You have peace through strength, not vulnerability. We've got to have an army that is well-staffed, well-trained, well-financed, and that is prepared for anything, and hopefully, because it is so well-prepared, it never has to be used. We can't continue to have one that is stretched and pulled, and particularly, and I'm very sensitive to this, having been a governor and watched some of our National Guard troops spend 3 out of 5 years in active duty. If we're going to engage them, we have to make sure we've got enough troop strength of regular Army and our Air Force and Navy that we don't have to have extended deployments out of our Guard and Reserve units.
Governor Romney, your thoughts on Vladimir Putin?
Well, Putin is heading down the same road that we've seen authoritarian leaders in Russia and the former Soviet Union head down before, and it's very troubling. You see a leader who wants to reestablish Russia as one of the great powers of the world, potentially a superpower, potentially the superpower. And he is, the evidence of that, of course, is his elimination of the free press, his terrorizing and imprisoning of political prisoners, and unexplained murders that are occurring. It's another repressive regime which he is overseeing. And the question is what you do in a circumstance like that and what it portends for the future of the world. What we have today in the world is 4 major, if you will, strategies at play. One, there are the nations with the energy, like Russia. They're trying to use energy as a way to take over the world. Then there's China, which is saying we're going to use communism plus sort of a wild West form of free enterprise. We're going to give nuclear weapons or nuclear technology to the Iranians. We're going to buy oil from the Sudanese. You've got China. Then you've got Al-Qaeda, which says we want to bring everybody down. And then finally there's us, the only major power in the world that says we believe in free enterprise and freedom for the individual. And this great battle is going on right now, and it's essential for us to strengthen other friends like ourselves and to confront one by one these other strategies and help turn them towards modernity so that the world our kids inherit does not have to know war. Will there be war? Of course, there will always be terrible events in the world, but let's do everything in our power to keep war from occurring by helping move these voices of moderation and having such strength in our own military that people never question our ability to respond.
Some questions about leadership now. Janet Hook.
I want to start with Senator McCain. There's been a lot of discussion lately about the importance of leadership and management experience. What makes you more qualified than Mitt Romney, a successful CEO and businessman, to manage our economy?
Because I know how to lead. I know how to lead. I led the largest squadron in the United States Navy, and I did it out of patriotism, not for profit. And I can hire lots of managers, but leadership is the quality that people look for. And I have the vision and the knowledge and the background to take on the transcendent issue of the 21st century, which is radical Islamic extremism. I've been involved in every single major national security crisis since in the last 20 years. I'm proud to have played a role in those, and I'm proud to have played a role in making sure that we didn't raise a white flag and surrender in Iraq as the Democrats wanted us to do, and we would have done if we'd have set timetables for withdrawal. So the fact is that I have the qualifications and the knowledge and the background and the judgment. I don't need any on-the-job training. I had the great honor of serving this country in uniform for 22 years. I had the great honor of being inspired while I was in the prison camps of North Vietnam by the news of a governor and his wife who cared very much about those of us who were in captivity. And when I came home, I was inspired by him, and I voted for him, and I supported him, and I was proud to be a leader in the Reagan Revolution, a foot soldier in the Reagan Revolution, as we fought these wars together with unshakable courage and principle. And I'm prepared to follow in his tradition and in his footsteps.
Governor Romney, I've got to let you in on this. Is Senator McCain a better leader in terms of the economy?
No. He's a fine man and a man I respect, and I particularly respect his service in the military and his integrity and courage for our nation. I do believe that as people over the centuries have considered who ought to lead our country, they don't look to senators. They look to governors. And they look to governors because they have the experience of being executive leaders. They're actually leading something. They're making something happening. They're running something. They're leading an organization. Senators and congressmen are fine people, but they're legislators. They sit in committees. They're committee chairs, and they call that leadership. In my view, the key leadership of my life was 25 years in the private sector, helping build business, turn a business around, start a business successfully, then going off to the Olympics, helping turn the Olympics around. You don't do that as a manager, you do that as a leader. We shouldn't demean the people who are starting up small businesses or middle-sized businesses or people who run volunteer organizations. They're leaders. You can't go out and hire managers to run these things. These are people who are leading our economy. They help lift our country. I think in order to have somebody fix our economy and strengthen it, and it's our economy that's the root of our strength to provide for our military, for our families. We have to have a strong economy. You got to have somebody who's actually done some work in the private economy, who understands how it works. And then I went on to become a governor. I went on to become a governor, and as a governor, you're also a leader. You're the commander-in-chief of your National Guard. You're in charge of the state police. You're in charge, in my case, of tens of thousands of employees. You work together with the legislature to get the job done. I'm proud of my experience as a leader, and I will use that leadership skill, which has honed my sense of judgment, temperament, wisdom, decision-making capacity, and ability to deliberate on tough issues to make sure you get them right, to make sure that we have the right kind of leadership in the White House.
has a follow-up question, and we'll get to all of you, I promise.
Let's turn that around. Even today, Rudy Giuliani endorsed John McCain and said that there would be no better commander-in-chief. What makes you more qualified than John McCain to run the military as commander-in-chief?
You know, I'm sure that there are those that say, you know, to be the commander-in-chief, you have to serve in the military. And one of the two great regrets I have in life is I didn't serve in the military. I'd love to have. But I don't believe that you have to have served in the military to be a great commander-in-chief or to be a great foreign policy expert. I think you're going to see in our foreign policy and in the military, we're going to face challenges not like the challenges of old, where I liken it to playing checkers with the red side and the black side. It's more like three-dimensional chess. And you're going to have people of unusual capacity in bringing in the perspectives of the entire world and thinking about how you move your pieces and how you make changes that can strengthen America's position. You see, my objective is to keep America the strongest nation on earth, economically, militarily, and if you will, from the spirit of our people. I believe I can do that by virtue of a lifetime of experience leading, making decisions. But you know, some of our great leaders, look at Abraham Lincoln, was not a military expert, but turned out to be one of the best in the history of this country.
I'm going to ask you all for follow-ups on this, but Senator McCain, I just want to give you an opportunity to follow up on that. Is Governor Romney ready to be a military commander?
Well, I'm sure that as I say, he's a fine man, and I think he managed companies, and he bought and he sold, and sometimes people lost their jobs. That's the nature of that business. But the fact is, we're at a time in our history. We're in a time in our history where you can't afford any on-the-job training. And I believe that my experience and background qualifies me to lead. And that's why I've gotten the support of 4 former Secretaries of State, 2 of them in the Reagan administration. That's why I've gotten the support of General Norman Schwarzkopf. That's why I've gotten the support of over 100 retired Army generals and admirals. Literally every national security expert from the Reagan and other administrations are supporting my candidacy, including the former head of the Department of Homeland Security, my friend Governor Tom Ridge, who believe that I have the qualities necessary to lead.
Congressman
I hope
Paul,
that some people will judge me by those that are supporting me.
Congressman Paul, what makes you capable of being leader both on the economy and the military?
The Constitution is very clear that the President's commander-in-chief of the military, but the President's not the commander-in-chief of the economy or of the people. And when we get asked questions like, how are you going to manage the economy? It's a reflection of conventional wisdom, but of a lot of lack of understanding of how the economy works. The President's not supposed to manage and run the economy. The people are supposed to do this. The government's supposed to give them sound money, low taxes, less regulations. The people are supposed to run it. But here we're assuming that the President's supposed to run the economy. We're not supposed to manage. We're not supposed to manage the people.
What role do you think the federal government should have